Hopefully, yeah, this week you have enjoyed your ideas being out in the world. You maybe had a few conversations with people about them, whether that's your friends or your family, or maybe even some of the other people in this group or your colleagues, just to see what it's like giving this idea or this kind of project that is developing a bit of its own kind of life out there. Thanks for some of the responses in the Slack with your working project title names and some of their kind of initial descriptions. Really great to see just kind of putting it out there and seeing what comes back. For those of you that haven't done that yet, either because you haven't had a chance or you don't feel like you're quite at that stage yet, hopefully by the end of this session you'll feel like you can share those working titles and descriptions back with the group. So in this session, we're gonna, because there's only a small amount of us, we can do a proper check-in with everybody and get a bit of a update on where everyone is at in themselves and in their projects. Then we're going to split the group in half, and we're going to have about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes in breakout rooms. Everybody will have a dedicated amount of time focused on them and their ideas. So when we're doing these updates over the next 10 minutes or so, sorry, have a think about what you need from the group, whether that is feedback or whether that's you really just need someone to listen about what you've got to say, or if you just need a rambling conversation, or if you need help researching. These breakout rooms during the Questlab, it's much more on you for how you want to spend this time. What does value look like for you? You've got a bunch of other people in here who we all want to see each other succeed. We all want to make stuff together. So use the collective intelligence and generosity within this group in those rooms. So yeah, each person will have about 10, 12 minutes on their idea, and then we'll come back and we'll do a bit of feeding back and make some action points for the week ahead. And yeah, we'll also have a breakout room open during this session for if anyone doesn't feel like they need conversation right now. What they need is actually like 45 minutes of just head down, like doing the work time. We'll have a room open for that too, because I know that can be of value. A few people did that in the last session, and they made some real progress. So if that is value for you, we will do it. But yeah, would love to kind of hear where everybody is at. Yeah, in yourself, where are you? How are you feeling today? And also, yeah, just a quick kind of little update on your project or your idea, whatever stage it is at. There is no stage which is a wrong stage right now. I will go first, and then we'll move on to Dina, then Raquel. Actually, Dina wasn't here last week, so maybe we'll actually do Raquel first and then Becca, and then Dina, we'll put you at the end when you can kind of get a bit of a feel for the rest of the group. Awesome. So how am I doing today? Good. Yeah, Tiz and I have been did our first session on working on May's theme today, and it's always a fun one. The very first session of like, oh wow, what could this look like over a month? And we don't like to go too far down it, because we kind of want to go on the journey with everyone else too. It's a bit of a fine balance to strike between being researched and prepared, but also not too researched and prepared. So yeah, it was really good to actually just sort of make a dent there and be like, oh wow, this is going to be a fun one. But that's all I can say, as you know. But yeah, we did that today. That was great fun. And then in terms of projects, I've kind of got two ideas, which I guess I'm both kind of equally excited by. One of them is this kind of trail idea that kind of takes you around different, there's a amazing tree here called the London Plane, which is like an iconic tree in London. It's kind of like would be like a Google map kind of interactive trail that kind of takes you around different things, different trees, and asks you to kind of pause and reflect and do some creative challenges at each one. I've massively reducing the idea here, but you know, it's a little update. And I had a call with the Urban Tree Festival this morning, which is happening from the 14th to the 22nd of May. I had a call with their programmer and was just like, look, I don't have a finished thing, but here's the kind of rough idea. I'm working on it over this month. Just say yes and I'll make it happen. And he was like, okay. So that's cool. Now I'm like, okay, I actually have to sort of come up with a thing now. Yeah, so that's fun, you know, living by my words and throwing myself in the deep end, basically. And then, yeah, just a bit broader than that, went on a nature retreat over the weekend, which was just amazing. Incredible company called the Bio Leadership Project, who do a lot of work in kind of looking, kind of shaping leadership through nature. They do amazing things, run by a guy called Andres Roberts, who was our guide on the trip, and he's just such a phenomenal guy, and brilliant guide to be out in nature with. And I did a full day camp in some ancient woodland, which was amazing. I've done like camping before, but like in groups, but part of this experience was to like go out into this ancient woodland, which nobody ever camps in apart from this group, because it's a private estate, and Andres has a relationship with the land managers. And yeah, we were invited to go out into the woods the day before our solo and find a spot in the forest that kind of like spoke to us in a kind of certain way. And we then spoke about our intentions for the solo the next morning. And then, yeah, we all separately went out into the woods and pitched our tents, and we were there for all in our spots for about 16 hours or so. And the idea was like, you don't really take any food with you. You just kind of go and you don't really move from the spot you're in. You're kind of just in maybe like a 10-15 meter radius. You just kind of really nest in and make that your spot for a time. And it was phenomenal. It really was. I feel like the woods are still kind of with me in a way. Yeah, so I've had a good time. Wow, sorry, that was a ramble. That wasn't a little update at all. It was a TED talk. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Raquel. How you doing? Where are you at?
Hi, everyone. And I loved listening to your story. I could totally do that right now. I'm doing good, but I could totally spend time in nature and away from everything right now. I could use some of that. I am a little bit tired, but I'm usually at this time because I'm more of a morning person. So I'm just happy to be here. I have a lot of work stuff. So I've been trying to get nuggets of rewilding into here. But I have some time off next week. So I'm going to use that to dive deep a little bit into that space where you can just, be with and see what shows up with some of these ideas. So I'm happy to be here. And today, when whoever I'm with or however this works out, I'm really open to some other ideas or impulses to the ideas I have. I'm really open to your input to kind of tap into the creativity. Maybe you can wake some creativity up in me. That'd be great.
Amazing. I'm just tagging you in something in the Slack actually that I came across a great kind of bug hotel that made me think of all of your stuff in your yard.
There's not much. A bug hotel makes me think of you. That's so nice.
That's it. When I think of Raquel, I think bug hotels.
But you know what, when I'm listening to you and I think about this, I go back to so many times in my life that nature has kind of guided me in my way of what has given me lots of answers. I used to do that as a kid intuitively. Every time I would fly in an airplane, I would take time and look out the window, ask questions, and the clouds would give me answers. Never told anybody that, but I would do that stuff all the time when I was little.
Oh
Crazy
wow.
thing. Yeah.
I love that. So you've been listening from a young age.
Yeah, but it's time to get back to that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you dug up any more interesting things in your garden or your yard.
No, because it started raining. But it's going to get better tomorrow. But I forgot to upload the pictures, or I tried to and it didn't work. I'll try again in just a few minutes.
I'm sort of imagining, I don't know if this is too British a reference, but I'm sort of imagining. God, that word didn't sound right when it came out of my mouth. I'm sort of imagining that your garden is a little bit like Mary Poppins' bag, and it's just you're just pulling stuff out of it, just endless stuff.
Well, mi casa es tu casa, so you're welcome to come visit and find these Mary Poppins things.
Sure thing. I'll hop on over. I'll catch a flight. Awesome. Thank you, Raquel. Becca, how you doing? What's going on in your project world?
Yeah, I mean, personally, quite busy with work right now. Something's going on with the universe at the moment. But yes, a few changed plans. So I'm supposed to have been going to Billund next week. That's cancelled. My mum's got COVID. She was supposed to come this weekend, first time in the last 3 years since she's visited me. So she can't. So everything's a little bit changed. So I think this weekend I'll be able to do something.
Yeah.
I put a bird feeder up in my balcony and I've had no visitors. I was a little bit sad about that. So no bird visitors to my balcony. Maybe my cat's scaring them off. I have tidied up my balcony in preparation of my mum arriving this weekend, which she's not now. So that was quite good. And I actually bought some seeds to plant as well. So that felt kind of good. But in terms of projects, I've kind of changed a little bit. I wasn't feeling, well, now the birds aren't coming to my bird feeder. That kind of changed things quite a bit. And I wasn't really feeling my other idea. So I've still been reading the rewilding book and, you know, just thinking about the really good things that I've enjoyed the last month as well, about just being in nature. It's just quite obvious, but the whole sitting and just being and just observing and just seeing what happens and comes up. I think there's something just simplistic, just very simply in that. So is there a way of me just like sitting in nature and recording what happens? And what is that recording device? Is it data, imagery, or photography? What is it? And then I was starting to think, well, these sittings, can it be in different areas of London? Because I think it's quite interesting that London has lots of nature spots. Obviously, I've discovered that over the last month. Or could it be something that you do in a group? Or could it be something that you do in different areas of the world, even like if you're looking at it as a bigger idea in the future? So that's kind of where I am. Still not 100% convinced, but I'm going to take a trip to the Natural History Museum anyway this weekend. I was going to go with my mum to the wildlife photography exhibition and also go and see everything that they have in there, because I want to do some drawings anyway. So that might kind of spark something in me potentially.
Yeah, it's a great exhibition. Yeah, I went a few weeks ago. It's very good.
Okay.
And just to a couple of your points there. First of all, yes, the universe is definitely busy right now. There is some freaking weirdness going on out there right now. I feel like everybody is a little bit like kind of baffled and tired and exhausted and just a bit like, oh my God, can I just sort of hibernate for a moment? Yeah, so I feel you there big time. I'm very sorry to hear about your mum. Hopefully you can get that trip reorganized soon. Yeah. And then secondly, just like on the project thing, something that came up in the other group with a few people too, this kind of idea of like feeling like not forcing the making side of stuff. And because there's nothing worse than like when you're really trying to make something and it just feels wrong and difficult and awkward. And a few people in the other group have just opted for more kind of experience based sort of things too. And and I think there's literally no rules. Like just because it's a lab, it doesn't mean that the thing that you make has to be a physical, tangible object. It could be the thing that you want to make could be a feeling within yourself. You know what I mean? It could be as abstract as that. So I think like Hannah in the other group she's like, I'm just going to do as many different little mini adventures over the course of April as possible. I'm like, that's great, because it's all still in the experimental nature of things. I mean, God, you look at like, if you look at the history of performance art and stuff like that, so much of it isn't even about making stuff. It's just about happenings and experiences, and it's if you yourself see having those experiences as a creative experience, then it is. So yeah, I think that's great. Scotty, you're up.
All right, I'm up. Yeah, so on my side of things, I think a little bit of a side detour, but it has been inspired by some of the stuff in the last month. But I went up to Paso Robles, which is in Central California, on a woodworking and welding workshop this last weekend and learned how to weld, which was fun. It was really cool, and it was it was exciting. I've thoroughly been enjoying our course and our time together here, but I think first time I've actually taken some type of like a paid workshop or educational thing on my own in years, and just learned a completely new skill. So that was fun and exciting. Nothing to do with this project, but I thought I would share with the fellow questers. And in terms of my project, I shared, I was kind of thinking about doing this high desert haiku. And Sam offered up a little bit of a pivot for me to try and lean into the written word as opposed to trying to draw more, which I liked, and I'm gonna do. And I did share that with a couple of friends, and one of my friends was like, you should do that, but then do like a little bit of a doodle or a sketch next to it, like a timed 5-minute, something that I don't try and go over the top or perfectionist. It's just like a little kind of a quick exercise and a doodle or a feeling or emotion that's coming up with whatever is going on. So I am going to continue with that project. And I don't know, I just liked the sound of high desert haiku. I don't know if it's going to be, everything's going to be a haiku. I'm going to try to, but there might be some breaking of the 5-7-5 structure there. But that's the plan. And I don't know if we're supposed to like put parameters around it, but my goal is to make at least 10. So 10 little poems or haikus with little doodles. And it was going to be obviously around, this is all coming out in free form right now. It was going to be because high desert up in Joshua Tree. But another part of me is like, I don't know, maybe that's forcing it that I have to be out there. Maybe it's just, 10 poems. I can still keep the name. There's no rules, man. But yeah, I don't know. So that's where I'm at.
Love
a month of poetry.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for that. And the doodles. I
Poetry
like
and doodles.
Poetry and doodles. Right, taking it right back. I love it. Awesome. Cheers, Scott. We'll do Vera, then Sparks.
Hello, everyone. I am at my parents' place at the moment. So I started spring cleaning and now I'm away for a week. I'm not sure I planned that well. So I had this idea of rewilding my office into a more wild nature creative space, and because it also has a balcony on it, so it's a really nice space. But I think it is just for summer coming, there's some potential to really make that an oasis for creativity and
Mm.
wildness. So while I'm still in the middle of my spring cleaning and throwing out a lot of stuff to create space, I also been today to with my dad in my, like, they have a garden and they have like lots of stuff there, like old wooden blocks. So I'm thinking of maybe kind of creating something from what's already there,
Mhm.
and kind of maybe some shelving or whatever, or maybe just picture frames for all the art that I'm going to create and going to put up in that room. So I'm thinking along those lines, just getting some ideas and DIY stuff. um, I'm going to be here for a week, so I'm actually not going to be able to probably do more cleaning and actually kind of get into the doing, but maybe there's some idea in there. I also found I don't know, a week ago. I'm back on the collage theme. So
Uh-huh.
I had this idea of collaging vinyl covers, but I really wanted to use vinyl, so I asked around my friends, and no one had any old ones. But some neighbor just put them out, so I took a couple. So now I finally have the materials I originally wanted. So I'm thinking of creating finally that artwork that I wanted to create in February. So maybe that's also coming up there.
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, if you want to use this month for a bit of, like, Questlab on other themes, previous themes, absolutely.
Yeah, and also just bringing it together because it's still
Yeah,
rewilding.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
um,
Um, awesome,
yeah.
amazing. Thank you, Vera. Sparks, in a new spot today.
Yeah, I'm in the studio for experimenting with a half day back in person. So I'm hiding in a little telephone booth at work. Hence my tardiness.
Okay.
What are we or just sharing?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, literally just how you are, and just a quick update on just any kind of project development or ideas, or there's no right answer. Just get a little flavor of where you're at.
A little flavor of where I'm at is that yesterday I fell off the rock wall while bouldering, like not fall, but like came off, didn't complete a very easy climb and instantly started crying. And then I was like, oh shit, there's some stuff going on. And I realized I hadn't like paused for like 2 seconds in several months. So I took myself home and put myself to bed, and I'm trying to figure it out now, which is fun. But I'm a little bit of like a hot mess. I just have like a lot on my plate right now. So I have not done, to no surprise, anything for this project yet. However, I did have a magical little encounter with my favorite tree, which is the coolest tree ever. I'll share some photos. It's in Washington Park, which is like a 5-minute walk from my apartment, which is awesome. It's beautiful. Just city, Portland Park. All of the parks here are like 2 seconds into walking into them, you're like in a completely new world, like forest, like. And this one's not even in the middle of the woods or anything. It's kind of like off the side of a like road actually that leads to the park. But anyway, it's like totally broken open and super weird and quirky. And every time I've walked past it, I'm like, oh, that tree's so great, and I always take like a second to hang out. And so I was going on a walk the other day to like clear my head, and I saw my tree and I climbed up into it, and I like almost fell asleep on it because I haven't been sleeping a lot. And it was just like really like a special moment. I like it kept transforming every like angle. So it looks different all the way around because it's like I think it must have been struck by lightning or something. It's completely open and like funky and weird, and it has like 2 million things going on. There, I'm resonating with the tree if you're not picking that up. So it's like,
Yeah.
and you can walk through it and like underneath it and shit. It's pretty cool. So it's like, you feel me, and I sat down on it, and there's actually like, and it had just rained because it's Portland, or maybe it was raining. I don't even remember. And I reached out and touched like one of its little arms, and like there was a part where the bark was exposed, but it was covered under this other. It's really hard to explain, but anyway, it almost looked like it was like skin, and it kind of felt like what I would assume like a rhino arm would feel like or something. And it like felt like I like took my hand away. It felt vulnerable. Like it felt like I was touching like an intimate part of this tree, and it was kind of hidden. Anyway, so I had some like lots of thoughts after that, and thinking about perhaps doing something with this tree, but I haven't gotten anywhere. Like it was really inspiring, and then I left and went back to like crazy land. So I'm not being very helpful. That's where I'm at.
I absolutely love that. I love that. I want to hear more of the tree. Please document more of the tree. Have you have photos? Do you have photos?
Tree. I'm trying to. I probably won't be able to. Here's one of them. Wait.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow, that is cool.
It's the funkiest tree. And then it has like, I mean, there's just so many pieces of it that are open.
Wow.
Super funky. Oh, that didn't work. Anyway, I'll share some later, but it's a pretty cool tree.
Amazing.
Even I was taking photos walking around, and my phone's super old, so it dies in like 2 seconds. And I was like documenting from all the different angles because I wanted to take it back home. And my phone died in the middle of doing that. And it was like, the tree is telling me to stop being such a digital nuisance and like just come and embrace me, silly child. Like, fine, you win.
Digital nuisance. I like it. Well, yeah, look, sending you lots of hugs, and yeah, the tree's got your back on this one. I can,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you very much, Sparks, as always.
Can I did everybody, sorry.
Go for it.
I realized I didn't keep going, but I realized I didn't just briefly tell you anything about my projects. I just talked about myself, how I was doing, but I'll tell you after, because it reminded me of something that everyone just said.
Okay, yeah, we'll have a chance a little bit later. Dina, so hey. Hi, you got your cast off your hand. Congrats.
I did. I got my cast off.
Congratulations. Yeah. So yeah, you weren't here last week, so we kind of just went through kind of unpacking the things that inspired us in month one, and kind of where we think we might want to take that energy, if there's ways that projects that we might want to sort of turn that inspiration and sort of ideas into. And these projects is a very, very loose term for basically anything that you want to create for yourself, whether it's an object or a experience or literally anything. So if you've got a kind of an idea or anything that you're working on, please do share with us. But if not, please feel free to just let us know how you are, and kind of the things that you found inspiring last month, so that we can kind of guide you towards the thing that you want to do.
Yes, I have some ideas, but none of them they don't make sense. They're just kind of like skewing a little bit.
Perfect.
I really, one of the things I guess got me out the most in nature last month was walking my dog, and just spending time outside and connecting with him, and really seeing things differently than I've seen before. And then this month I actually found a dog on the street that I just adopted. So now I have 2 dogs, and it's been a very interesting transition into crazy dog lady, I have to say. No, but it's been really, like, I've just spent, I feel like, my entire last week and a half around dogs, and meeting, because this one's a puppy, so it's like meeting every other dog on the street, and meeting every all of my neighbors, and all of this stuff that's been going on, and really just
being really, rewilding with dogs, because I feel like I'm like being really introduced into this world, like this world of crazy dog language, and they say so much without saying anything. And so one of the things that kind of I've been thinking about is, I don't know how to make this into a project, but just taking advantage of being in the moment I'm in with these dogs, and kind of reading, like trying to learn them a little bit better, and trying to learn the nature and all of the, you know, natural instincts of this really cool animal. And that sounds weird, and I don't really have an idea of where that goes, kind of, but I think like I've been spending so much time around so many different dogs anyways, that it is kind of a cool backwards way into nature, about like nature versus nurture, and how we train them versus what if we just let them be, and, you know, I don't know. Yeah.
That's
That's all I
cool.
got.
No, that's no, that I'm just kind of sitting with that one for a moment. That's great. There's like there's somebody that I follow. I don't know if you follow the person that founded Creative Mornings, but she adopted a dog. She adopted a dog a while ago, and she keeps using this phrase. She's like, I adopted the dog, but really the dog adopted me, kind of thing. And like,
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice kind of way of thinking about it.
Yeah, I also thought like in February I did language, so it's like interesting to now do like dog speak.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent. Tiz, did you want to say anything? Just how are you? Let us know how you're doing, Tiz.
I'm doing fine. I'm very happy that we got to here, and I'm very excited to work on these ideas with you guys, even if you feel like you're not in the best place, or your idea is not where you wanted it to be at this stage. It's all part of the process, and of course there's always ways, and so don't worry about it. We'll work through it, and feel free to message me anytime, and we can chat about it if you think you're stuck. A quick update. I also just remember that I started researching, because I wanted to go to the Eden Project, which is this giant like biodome in the UK. But I realized that is really far from the city, London, where I am. So it was a big disappointment. It's not like a day trip. It's like a minimum, like a weekend thing or more. And it's not easy to reach, and there's like a few problems, but I have to do some planning. So my mission is to get there.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. Definitely worth the weekend trip, worth the mission. Awesome. So we're going to jump into breakout rooms now till 1:15, so just over half an hour. Split that amount of time between however many of you there are. So if there's 3 of you, you have 10 minutes each. And yeah, use this time as you need it. You know, even if you feel like you've really got nothing to say, it's amazing what can happen when you just have the floor and open up and start having a conversation. Goes in little random rabbit holes, and before you know it, you're feeling inspired. Don't know how it works, it's just how it works. So yeah, please use this time for how you need it, whether it's research, feedback, conversation, anything. The floor is yours, and please offer up your full attention to your fellow questers. These just opened up now, so you can jump into these rooms. I'll jump into room 1, Tiz, and then if you want to jump into room 2. Great. Awesome.
Group 1, what's up?
We're here.
We're here.
We're here. We're ready to go. Sparks, it struck me that when you talk about your tree, that it instantly kind of sounded like a sort of I know the word immersive experience gets like used a lot, but the way that you talked about it with like being in it and like different little parts of it, and you wearing your Meow Wolf beanie, it just kind of connection kind of just clicked in my head a little bit. Yeah.
All clicked. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely an immersive tree. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's funny how the word immersive is just, I don't know if it's the same in the States, but here everything is an immersive experience now. Basically
Oh, that's so
anything that
annoying.
involves, if anything that involves just basically being in real life or like with people not on the internet is an immersive experience.
Yeah, it's annoying because I feel like I'd put myself closer to the pioneer end of learning about immersive, the world of immersive. And now that it's all buzzy, the same thing happened with like UX and UI and design and HCD and UCD and all that stuff. But
I was thinking yesterday, I really wish there was a better word for the word participatory, because it's just such a clunky word. Like it just does, it just falls out of your mouth like a sort of, I don't know, piano falling down a set of stairs or something. It's just like
that's kind of beautiful.
participatory. I'm just like,
What about interactive?
Interactives. Were you going to say something, Scott? Felt like you had
No,
something.
well, I mean, we can go off on tangents here, but I hate the word premiere because anything that is premiere is not really premiere. It's like the lowbrow use. Anytime you use it, you're like, this is going to be crap. Like nothing is premiere. So anyway,
Tangents, pet peeve words. Yeah. Yeah, participatory and interactory. It's just a clunky word. It's kind of cool, but it's like participatory. Six. It's not
Make
long.
a cool like downbeat though for some.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you could definitely. Wow. Anyway,
downbeat. Well, I think I know what my first poem is about. Is participatory.
Participatory.
That's a
I would
whole
love to see you work that into a poem.
Yeah, I'm not joking.
One word haiku.
To participate. Yeah.
Participatory.
The name of the haiku is longer than the haiku itself.
Yeah, I'm up for that. I would appreciate that. Yeah. Who's taking the floor first? Scott, I think you volunteered yourself with that.
Okay. So I was just thinking to myself, I would love to hear what some of your favorite poets are in the group. I want to start opening myself up, and I'm going to buy some books today. Spend that money.
Yep. Okay, hang on a second.
Oh, he's got it, and it's color coordinated.
Yep. Well, you have to get yourself this. The Poetry Pharmacy.
The Poetry Pharmacy.
Tried and true prescriptions for the heart, mind, and soul.
Wow.
And basically this guy called William Sieghart did this project where he went and sat in libraries around the UK, and people would come to him with their ailment, like as in like what was going on in their life, and he'd be like, I know a poem for that, and then he would prescribe them a poem. And it's now turned into book series. This is like volume 1, but I think there's 2 or 3 volumes.
Okay, added to cart. I'm going for it. In real time. Everybody else, give me one. I'm gonna buy 3 books today.
Yes, Scott.
Sparks, Vera.
Oh gosh, it's hard to pick one. Hold on, let me evaluate in my head which one I'm gonna give you.
Just what comes to mind, just right off the cuff. Just let it flow.
Nope, you can't do that.
Nope, that's not gonna happen.
I think Oh, the first thing that came to mind when you said that was the Book of Disquiet, but honestly, it might be a bit of a heavy, depressive, very large book of poetry to jump into, but maybe you do that and then you read the pharmacy book and it heals you right up.
The Book of Disquiet.
Yeah,
By
it's by
Fernando
Pessoa. Yeah,
Okay.
the Portuguese author. And he like, it's interesting. I got it because the front cover was intriguing and the back cover was intriguing at the time. But he like coined the, oh god, now I can't even remember what it's called. He coined a term for having multiple, I'm gonna butcher this, let me look it up. Continue, please.
Wow.
Don't let me.
No, it's in the cart. It's coming tomorrow.
Oh god. That's a lot of
it.
pressure.
I love
No
it.
pressure at all. I love it. We're just, it's getting called in right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's looks intense, but
It is.
What's it called? The
we're-
Book of Disquiet. Sounds intense.
Yeah.
The Book of Disquiet. What was was there any others?
I mean, if you want more obvious answers, like Mary Oliver, or like freaking like Bluets, which I still haven't read yet, but like freaking everyone keeps recommending. You've read that one, right, Sam?
Which one?
Mary Bluets. Didn't you read
By
that in color?
Mary
Maybe
Oliver.
I'm making that up.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe we did. I'm just reading a bit more about the Book of Disquiet. It says on here that it's a book to give you hope.
Oh, good. Well, it takes a while to get there, perhaps.
Wow.
I mean,
What are you saying? Blue it's?
Bluets. It's a poem. It's not. It's by Mary Oliver.
Okay.
There's a book on it though. Like I think Todd just read.
Is it
but it
is
just
it
keeps
in
getting recommended.
Devotions, the selected poems of Mary Oliver? Because that's now in the cart. Boom, done.
Yeah.
Possibly.
It's funny that you say that because I actually I'll spoil the surprise, but I'm actually going to finish today's session on a Mary Oliver poem. So
Wow.
Damn.
so there you go.
I was
There you
listening
go.
to her being interviewed on a podcast on my bike to work this morning too.
No, she's in the air. She's in the air. Mary's
Pretty
with us.
wild.
Mary's with us.
And Vera, how about you? You got anything?
I actually never really dabbled into poetry.
Yeah, either have I. This is why I
So
need
like the
recommendations.
first thing that comes to mind is like Rupi Kaur, Milk and Honey, and I think that's kind of just like a.
In fact, that's a really good reference, Vera, because actually lots of her stuff is short poems with little doodles next to them.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But I also know a website is called Hello Poetry, where you can just post stuff on there. You just sign up and you post stuff on there. So but it's like anyone can do it. I'm on there too because I have in July, August, it's always I'm writing some little poems and I'm posting them.
Nice.
And then I forget, and it seems to be something about the season. So it's called Hello Poetry.
This is cool. I'm on it now.
Okay.
There you go. That's me and poetry. Other than that, I would always go to songs because I mean songs have just great lines in them. So I mean, but that probably takes a little bit longer to go to the gold.
Go to the gold. All right, you guys. I hate to give Amazon my money, but I'm gonna do it for the sake of where we're at right now in timing. But I have arriving tomorrow, the Book of Disquiet, The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Coming on the 8th, Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. Devotions, selected poems of Mary Oliver. And then on the 9th arriving is Poetry Pharmacy by William Seeger.
Wow. Sounds like a shopping cart full of wisdom. That's what it sounds like. finally figured out the word that he coined. So, you know, like pen names and like heteronyms for like authors that will write under different names. So he coined the term pseudo heteronym, which refers to how he describes it as imaginary characters that he gives himself so that he can write in multiple different characters' voices, but they're all him, but they're also all not. It's like Wikipedia. I mean, it's there. It's
Say it again. What was the term name?
Heteronyms.
Heteronyms.
Heteronym.
Yeah, heteronyms.
Heteronyms. That's cool.
Yeah, it's wild.
Okay. Awesome.
Anyway, that sounds exciting.
Well, thank you guys. And I will, I know that Kathy in the beautiful studio, is that her name? I know she doesn't like the Giving Tree, but I am going to end my session reading to you guys a poem from Where the Sidewalk Ends, because okay, well, you know what? This is a safe space. This is a family here. So I'm gonna share this with you. About 2 months ago, I went through a breakup, and the next day I was kind of like, I was reading stuff, pulling stuff off of my shelf, and I picked up this Shel Silverstein, Where the Sidewalk Ends. I haven't read this since I was a kid, and just started reading it. And literally, like, the first poem I read was Magic. Sandra seen a leprechaun, Eddie touched a troll, Lori danced with witches once, Charlie found some goblins' gold. Donald heard a mermaid sing, Susie spied an elf, but all the magic I have known, I've had to make myself. And I just started crying when I read that. And it was just like, oh, it really resonated with me. And then a week later, I met up with my ex to like exchange some of our stuff and give each other back stuff. And she had ordered me this birthday gift that had come really late. And when we exchanged our stuff, we were saying goodbye. And she's like, oh, your birthday gift that took like 2 months to get here. She had ordered it months ago. She's like, it's here. She like, open it up. And I was like, okay. And I open it up, and we've never talked about, and I don't know why I keep looking at the dot over here thinking it's the camera, but the camera's over here. Anyway, I open it up, and it's this t-shirt that I'm wearing today. And we've like never talked about this, but it's a rabbit, and it says, I believe in magic. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I had literally read this poem about magic the night before. And I'm just like, all right, here we go. I believe in magic. I believe in myself. Let's create.
Yes.
There are going to be some magic mushroom appearances in your high desert haikus.
Always, Sparks. Always. We've got the shamanic grade in the high desert. Nothing but the finest. If anybody finds themselves in Joshua Tree and wants to blast off to Mars, you know who to talk to.
Can we blast off to Mars if we're not in Joshua Tree?
Always, Sparks. I only can access, I can facilitate the experience in person in Joshua.
There you go.
You can. I think that tree of yours is a perfect portal.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
Sam's like, didn't know I was making a group to encourage
Hey, fine by me.
journeys.
It's fine by me. It's all
Anyway,
about the journey.
okay, that's it from me. Thank
Scott,
you guys.
have absolutely maxed this time. Congratulations. You've really used this to your advantage.
I needed it. So that's enough about you guys. What do you guys think about me? All right, who's up?
Who's up? Who wants to take the floor?
I think Vera does. That's what I heard in her silence.
I'm not sure. You know, I've been just writing random words from our conversation. So I'm also like feeling a poem coming on again.
Good.
Yes.
I really like the doodle idea, and what I liked about it is the 5-minute timer, because I can also get so in my head, and but I just feel the idea of just making really quick creative things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And a side note, I think we are like, okay, let me hijack this conversation into another thing. So I've been working with a coach lately, and he's a musician, so he brought in some song and some rhythms to anchor visions and stuff, so we played with that. So whatever I was working on didn't really work out, but I learned something else, which is that I'm having trouble to practice. So like I wonder if that's a lost in translation thing, or I don't know how to practice, and I'm confusing practice with habits. So, okay, a little bit of a story here. I'm learning ukulele at the moment. I've been learning for 2 years, nothing happened. And then half a year ago, I found a teacher. So I'm learning with the teacher now, and all of a sudden it works. But I still can't practice, but I'm still progressing. So now I'm wondering whether I never learned how to practice things. But I also wonder if that's actually something to do with how my definition of practice is, because you have like in English is a weird language, when it comes to practice. You practice so many things which aren't actually practices, which are habits. So it's like very confusing for me personally. So I don't know if that's for anyone else also like that. So I started asking my musician friends for what their practice is and how they learn the instruments and how they're crafting their thing. And I love just listening to people's stories. And I know this has nothing to do with rewilding, but I think it's very relevant for what's happening at the moment. So I think there's also something in there for me.
Yeah, I think
Sure.
that practicing is understanding how you practice is really understanding how you learn. And understanding how you learn is like to rewild. I think you have to have a baseline understanding of what your wild is, right? Like the ways in which you absorb or consume content around the world, and even the way that you're teaching yourself ukulele as an example of that. Like what might you glean from these conversations with other folks and how they practice, to like turn back and ask yourself either where that's missing or how that can add to your practice, or if your practice looks completely different, and that can be okay too.
Mm-hmm.
How do you define in your own words the difference between practice and habits? And I'm curious.
Well, I'm not quite there yet, but I think it has something to do with regularity and whether I can do it on autopilot or not. So I assume that things that you don't have to think about so much are more habits. But then also, like, for example, you say you have a meditation practice, but there's nothing about practicing in meditation, because I just sit down, close my eyes, and that's a habit. But so like a meditation practice is not a practice as such as like learning to play new chords. It's like,
I think
so,
some people would see it as I think it depends on the individual. I think some people definitely would use meditation as a practice. Not to but I think it depends on the individual. I think it absolutely depends on the individual. I guess there definitely feels like there's an intentional difference. There's like an intention difference between habits and practice. Do you practice to create habits? Maybe.
yeah, I think so, right? And
Yeah.
then when you practice enough, it becomes a habit, so it becomes more, I don't know. Also, I have this idea that
Yeah.
practice is hard.
Mm,
Practice is not
yeah,
fun.
that's an interesting. I heard that earlier when it sounded like the optimal state is habit, which is effortless. But in an effortless state, you're no longer learning or growing. it's like you're brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about how to brush your teeth anymore. You can start multitasking maybe and doing other things. Maybe you can make it a game, make it harder.
Sparks, you're meaning to tell me that you don't practice brushing your teeth?
I'm meaning to say I have a habit of brushing my teeth twice a day.
I practice that shit all the time.
Like,
I am
today.
getting really good. Really good.
What, Vera, I'm also curious what words you wrote down. Earlier you said you were writing down words that were resonating with you.
I wrote, I believe in magic, portals, doodles, twice, and yeah, some other stuff. But those were kind of now the most resonant ones. I want to do something with portals.
I wrote
Nature
that down
portals,
too.
wilding
Good word.
portals, whatever, you know, portals. That just spoke to me.
Yeah, portals is a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Sparks, I'm worried that we want to give you some floor time too, but there was an intention in grouping you three together, in that you're all currently working. Well, actually, I mean, Sparks and Scott are literally, you're both working on building building or actually renovating houses and things in the desert or in Portland or whatever. But then also Vera, you're working on your kind of project was more focused on your house and what you're kind of rewilding your living space look like. So I thought it was interesting to put all of you together because you're all in your own ways thinking about space, the spaces that you want to exist in. So I just put that out there.
Oh, thank you.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that's still happening. I think I'm just starting to procrastinate on doing that by creating another project. That's a habit I have.
Yeah, I just pulled up the actual definition of practice is the actual application or use of an idea, belief, or method as opposed to theories relating to it.
Huh.
The application of an idea or belief.
I have to digest that.
I
Thank you
know.
for looking that up. I think I feel a project coming out there. Maybe that's the year project. Maybe that's what I'm doing all year.
No, the 5-minute project.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 5-minute projects for a year. I mean, what can I create in 5 minutes?
We only have a month. 5-minute project.
Well, I have all year, you know, Scott.
Vera signed up for the whole year.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
As is Sparks.
It's a lot of Sam time.
Seriously.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Tell
seriously.
me about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sparks, do you need anything from us?
I need so much. No, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. I was just thinking right now as you were talking about all the house stuff that or whatever, all the projects that we have going on in our real lives. Like, it's really interesting because, for context, my friend and I bought a house here in Portland, and it is a shithole because Portland's super expensive. So we're using this as an opportunity to totally create something like wild and just outlandish, but also struggling with, like, right now we're not currently living in it, and we want to move in like a month. So we're gonna glorify glamp probably for a good term. Like, it has no floors, there's no kitchen, there's no bathroom. Like, it needs the foundation's only in half of the house. Like, there's lots to do, and we're doing all the work or almost all the work ourselves. Anyway, so that's a little bit stressful. But the exciting part of it and what keeps us going is that we're reimagining what a house is and could be. So in each of these rooms, even we're defining what rooms are, what space is. We're like, what does this have to be? What is a kitchen? Why is it this way? Does it have to be that way? What does our kitchen look like? How does this foster community? How does this inspire people that are inside of it? We're really wanting it to be like this artistic, like communal space and open to a bunch of people eventually. Long term, you know, we're gonna have like rock walls and like trapezes and shit. We're really gonna push boundaries. Right now, we have to kind of get a toilet in there, right? So we can live. But it's interesting, like thinking about that in relation to just like rewilding. Like I wrote down in my notebook right now, like why am I not asking these questions of myself? Like why am I questioning all of these purposes of the rooms in a house and how space is defined and how people interact? But I'm not asking myself like, I don't know, those same questions like internally. Does that make any sense? So little nugget.
So
Sounds
what are you
like,
thinking
yeah.
about for your project? I'm in no like pressure sense, but you're totally open.
I mean, I had like a trillion ideas. Like the 2 times that I've had a second or 3 to think about this, all like ideas are really easy for me to come up with. It's like, I think practically picking one now that I have literally 0 time. Like sometimes I'm strapped for time. Now it's like moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed every single day is 100% full. And I took this, like I came in late because a meeting went over and I cut it off to come to this. And it was for this, like to carve out space to be like, no, this is important to you. Like you signed up for this for a reason. And there are a trillion other things. So I think it's like carving out the space to even just like give it room to breathe. Because if I have the time, like I feel like something will come from it. It's just like, yeah, how do I make that happen?
Yeah,
for sure. What I mean, is it just like things coming up, work, life stuff? Like what is being inundated with the day that you have no time for yourself?
It's a new house and working on that all the time, demoing and things like that under a tight timeline. I just started a new job and now we're in studio again. They work different hours. We're picking up speed with Climate Jungle, which is this like organization that I run on the side. And then obviously wanting to spend some time doing creative quests. But for the most part, and just like trying to plan, my friend's getting married in Ireland next month and we're trying to figure out how that works. I have some work trips coming up and there's just like so much trying to, plus, you know, I'm active. So I have like a community with acro and a community that climbs together and that happens for like several hours throughout the week as well. So, and I started the bike commute to work, which I haven't done in the past. And that like takes more time and so just like a couple of things, you know.
No, it sounds like a lot. You've got a lot on your plate. Just a little bit.
And it sucks because it's like finally at the point, like I've been at this point in the past, but like where some of the things are clearly not as giving as, or like I'm not as excited about all of them, and that's like a easier pull. But like now it's like everything I'm doing, I genuinely enjoy and could get excited about, but I'm not able, like as a human, to give what I want them to all these things right now. They don't want to let any of them go because they all are contributing, but finding that balance is tough.
Well, Sparks, I definitely don't want this kind of like weekly kind of, you know, lab to become a place of like, oh God, I didn't do the homework. Like, you know, that's the last thing that this place should represent. Like if this over the course of the month is 90 minutes for you to just like be Sparks, the artist, creative person with great ideas to speak about trees that are portals in the middle of the woods, like that's cool. Like that is more than enough, you know. Like don't feel like you literally just said about, you know, why am I trying to fix all of these things or come up with these ideas for these you know, the house or whatever, when I've, you know, not thinking about it for myself. Like, you know, if yourself is the project in the lab this month, like all good. Yeah. So
I was going to share too, you know, I just another reflection. I mean, I'm sending you lots of energy and empathy and compassion in a very hectic time. But I sit in this group on Monday nights. That's, you know, it's like, it's all on Zoom, but it's kind of like a thing, you know, you like process feelings and emotions and people share what's been going on their week. But we always start with like and it's only like It can be 10 seconds, it can be 30 seconds. It's always very fast, but we do a somatic body scan with no qualifiers, where you just, it's like an exercise of getting you out of your head and not being so cerebral and into your body. And you don't, like, you literally just like go from your forehead down and you're just like, my jaw's tight, I'm hungry, my shoulder is sore. And you just like feel your body, and know like, I'm really this, or I'm super tired, or whatever, like no qualifiers. You just like, I am this. And it's seriously like in a 20 seconds, like it literally allows you, because I find myself too always needing to like have the solutions or the answers, or why do I do this, or should be doing this or that. And it's just like, it's an opportunity to practice to just get back, like just for 30 seconds, like into your body without storytelling and without reason. And anyway, as you were sharing all this, I was just thinking to myself about these body scans. So
You weren't
anyway.
just thinking like, damn, that person sounds like they need to meditate.
No, but
Just kidding.
I can tell that you do, you seem like the type of person that you show up for people, and you do a lot. And and I respect that. But also, like, yeah, how do you show up for yourself too? The cup can get emptied, Yeah.
Totally.
And anyway, sorry if that felt like it was a big, massive projection. That was just something that
No, I appreciate it. Sweet. Sam, do you want to talk about either of your projects in the last couple minutes?
Yeah, so this morning I had a call with the Urban Tree Festival. Did I say this already?
Oh, cool.
Did I say this in the main room?
A little bit, but you didn't go into detail.
Oh yeah. I get a bit confused what I said in this session and what I said in the last session. They kind of all just blur into one. Yeah, I had a call with the Urban Tree Festival, so that was cool. And yeah, I'm kind of just like, I'm excited about that one. It's been a project that I've been like wanting to do for a long time. So I think I'm just going to go for a more like kind of light touch, just experiment with it type of thing, rather than go like, this is going to be a massive project. I have a tendency of just trying to make everything the big project, and just trying to sort of actually look at ideas from afar at the greater sort of context, and just go more like, actually, no, this could just be a really just fun little experimental project that happens once, and if people really like it, maybe I can do it again, and that's like more than enough. So yeah, gonna do that next month, but I actually need to work out exactly what form it's taking. I quite like the idea of it being a trail, like a Google Maps trail. Originally I was like, oh, I want it to be like all over London, but that's realistically, I'd rather somebody got to complete the whole thing and it took them a couple hours, which is not going to happen if it's set all around London. So probably makes more sense for it to be in a kind of like smaller location. So yeah, I've got to work that out. And then the other thing, not that I'm going to have time to talk about it, I'm actually more excited by the other idea now, the More Than Human Resources Department. Oops. Yeah, got it up there.
Wait, Tiz was just in the middle.
Tiz kicked herself out.
Amazing. Oh God, it's just so nice. What a little chat with some good people with big hearts and big brains can do. It's epic. So I think what we did in the other group, which I think was helpful, is I think after these kind of conversations, you kind of, you feel the lightness, you feel a bit more inspired perhaps through the conversations you've had, something somebody else has said, or maybe you've said something in a way that maybe you haven't said it before. So I just want to give everybody 5 minutes to just kind of let the dust settle on that conversation you've just had with your notepad and pen, or however you take notes, just to kind of write down any of the stuff that came up that you actually kind of want to take with you beyond this session. We often think that these kind of feelings of inspiration and are going to just kind of float with us for the for the rest of the day or wherever we are, and actually a lot of the time once we kind of move context or setting, they kind of wash away. So yeah, just take 5 to reflect on that conversation, and yeah, we'll carry on from there. Put some more music on. Okay, so wrap that up. Is there anything that anybody wanted to reflect back from their rooms? Any things that came up? Any little breakthroughs or ideas, or just general thoughts or vibes? Nope. Okay, all good. Okay, just to wrap up then, looks like we might finish just five minutes or so early today, which is for a change. Would like everybody to put in the chat what an action point looks like for you this week. In the chat, so we can all hold you accountable. Scott's going to start writing poems. I must say that Scott just absolutely nailed his 10 minutes in the breakout room. That was an incredible use of time. Scott wanted to start reading more poetry, so he literally real time pulled up Amazon and asked us all to recommend poetry books, and he literally added them to his cart right there and then and ordered them. Which was genius.
Now, whether or not I read them is another story.
Are we gonna next week? Are we just gonna spend 10 minutes sitting here watching you reading poems?
I'm looking it up. It's Sundoku is the Japanese art of buying books and never reading them.
How about the one where you start reading many at once?
Yeah. Is it quite
something doku?
Sundoku is acquiring reading materials but letting them pile up in one's home without reading them. That is,
there we go.
That's me.
That's you from now on.
It's me.
I love it. Sparks making time for quality tree time. Trees are portals. That's what we learned today. Trees are portals. Raquel, invitation to community in Slack about listening to nature. Brilliant. And pick out pots to create a frog home. Love it. Rebecca's going to sit in nature, recording what she sees, feels, or whatever it may be. Hope it doesn't rain. What you need there, chapter 1 of Rewild Yourself. You need some magic trousers.
I need some magic trousers.
Honestly, this book is just brilliant. It's called Rewild Yourself.
So good.
It's just
Are they called magic trousers in there?
No. But he's like, so basically each.
I know in Germany they're called Regenhosen.
Well, he's talking about waterproof trousers, but he calls them magic trousers.
Yeah.
Basically,
I never knew those existed until I moved to Germany, and all the little kids run around with these rain pants. I didn't even know that because where I grew up, I'm like, what are those? And everybody has them here. It rains.
It rains a lot, yeah. But yeah, it's such a beautiful, but it's just the most like charmingly written. Just basically, there's 23 ways to kind of connect. Well, he says 23 spellbinding ways to make nature more visible, but they're honestly the most like pedestrian suggestions you could possibly imagine. But the way that he writes about them is like you're entering into another universe. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. Such a good book.
It's really, really cool. But he talks about he talks about waterproof trousers being magic trousers because they allow you to experience the world. You know, we're so conditioned to only go outside when it's nice weather, basically. It's like when you put on magic trousers, you get to just experience the world in a whole different dimension, which is very true. So what else we got in here then? Becca, I hope it does rain. Yeah, I hope it rains too. And that's the Japanese book collecting art. Excellent. Wicked. Have we got everybody? Yeah, that's everybody. Amazing. Cool. So just to wrap up, first things first, our next quest is on the horizon. That's right. We are starting a new quest in May. How many people? There's a few people in here that are with us for the year. So kind of yeah, I'm only, you guys are already doing this. But Scott and Raquel, we've got another quest coming up in May, exploring a new theme. But honestly, any word that you can spread about Creative Quest to anybody, whether that's friends, family, your co-workers, ex-co-workers, anybody that you think could use this space to kind of invite creativity and different ways of seeing in the world, different ways of being inspired. You know what this Creative Quest process is now through going through it, some of you multiple times, and it's just such a hard thing to describe, in a Instagram post or an advert or even a kind of a web page. It's difficult. It really does make a difference, the word of mouth. So if you've got anybody that you could recommend to come join the Quest Club, it'd be greatly appreciated. We've got a little discount code for you. It's always 20% off for returning questers, and feel free to give this to your friends and family too. Oh, there you go. Sam, have you considered creating it? That's a great shout. That's a good shout, Sparks. That's good. I like that.
You could do multiple different versions because CQ has a lot of personalities,
Yeah, that would be magical catfishing. Quest fishing. Ooh. Yeah, but no, seriously, yeah, would love to have people back, and yeah, any friends of Questers would be more than welcome. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to end this session on a poem from Mary Oliver. We got read this poem on the nature retreat that I just went on with Bio Leadership Project, just before we all went into the forest. Andres, our guide, read us this as a kind of, it was almost like a spell that he was casting on us all before we each went into the woods on our kind of solo camps. And yeah, these words really kind of stuck with me, so I wanted to share them with you. It's called Sleeping in the Forest. I thought the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly, arranging her dark skirts, her pockets full of lichens and seeds. I slept as never before, a stone on the riverbed, nothing between me and the white fire of the stars but my thoughts, and they floated light as moths among the branches of the perfect trees. All night I heard the small kingdoms breathing around me, the insects and the birds who do their work in the darkness. All night I rose and fell as if in water, grappling with a luminous doom. By morning I'd vanished at least a dozen times into something better. Beautiful little poem. She's got incredible way with words. Hopefully you'll have a little bit more of Mary Oliver to wrap your head around, Scott, now that you got devotions in the basket.
It's coming.
It's coming. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. Awesome. Well, look, it's great to get an update on everybody's project. I use the term projects as just such a kind of loose term, whether it's like physical things that you're working on or just, I don't know, feelings, inspirations that you're trying to cultivate over the course of this month. Yeah, that's what the lab is all about. So yeah, we'll see you this time next week. And yeah, please do. You've put your action points in the chat. Do those action points and just go to the next layer, whatever the next layer looks like for you. But yeah, go easy on yourself at the same time. We're all busy, and as we said, it's weird out there right now. So yeah, seriously weird. Cool. All right, have a lovely evening, day, night, morning, wherever you are, and use Slack as a resource, please. It really is a place for us to continue the energy that we have in this chat. It's the same on Slack. So yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.